Hey, all wild weather here for liveweatherblogs.com. Looking at the the radar first this morning. I got some pretty organized area of showers and thunderstorms right along the border of Tennessee, Kentucky, and moving over into Virginia, and then moving off the Delmarva and off the Virginia Beach coast right now. This is where the stole boundary is today. The cold front lying right about, say, like so, with little areas of low pressure running along it like train tracks, if you would. And that'll be important for down the road. We talk about these frontal systems that get down to these southeastern states, and then we have ripples or areas of low pressure that run along it to enhance heavy rainfall. So something to keep an eye on down here in the southeastern states, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Lots of showers and thunderstorms congealing along the peninsula. Florida, if you're down in South Florida, say south of Tampa, draw a line Tampa to Cape Canaveral points south. This area should fill in over the land once the sun breaks out. It's a weak tropical wave moving off to the northwest here and then going to turn up this way. Lots of moisture here in the coastal bend of Texas, Louisiana. Some much needed rain in Texas overnight into eastern and Colorado, New Mexico, all associated with this stalled boundary. In the Delaware County area overnight, we had in media here, we had about an hour's worth of rain last night, a dying thunderstorm that originated way out here, decided to straight east and then right over the Delaware County communities of media, most of Delaware County, but media seemed to be the one in the crosshairs of that. Wasn't anything heavy, just light, just enough to give the vegetables a watering, and that moved out. And we'll show that why that was on the water vapor map in a moment. Let's go to the water vapor map. This is the 24-hour loop. That last shot was from telecast.com. This is from hamweather.com. And this is the 24-hour loop of the water vapor map. The reasoning we have that little shower, this little weak short wave, if you would, along the jet here, came down and squeezed out any available moisture. And that's the reasoning you got that light shower in Delaware County. Now drier air punching in from the west-northwest. Skies should at the very worst go partly cloudy and allowing some sunshine, and temperatures will probably get into the mid and upper 80s, probably looking at about 87 or so in the Delaware County area, Philadelphia Airport. I don't think it'll quite make it to 90, but we'll see what happens as the winds downslope off the mountains here a little bit in the upper levels. At the lower levels, we have an easterly flow, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. You get the idea. Here's your front. The front that's stalled down here is really not going to be going anywhere much further to the south, maybe just a tad, a smidge, before it starts getting influenced by a broadening southeasterly flow. With that in mind, let's start taking a look at some of the models here. This is the 84-hour NAM model from this morning, and you get the idea. The NAM wants to develop a fairly decent high pressure system bridge out here in the Atlantic. This place pretty far off to the northeast here is a very large high pressure system, but you get the idea as you look at these the rainfalls echoes coming across. We have a very broad east-southeasterly flow heading toward the United States east coast, and then eventually this will curl up into the mid-Atlantic. You even see some semblance of the moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico moving up into the Ohio Valley, and they're getting much needed heavy rainfall up here in the Ohio Valley where they had the drought and the extreme heat. So you're going from one extreme to the other, it looks like. The NAM wants to pick up a lot of Atlantic and Gulf moisture and start bringing up the east coast and along the Ohio Valley. And that goes it goes right along the fact that we're looking toward the weekend, and the NAO wants to go from a negative phase where it would allow somewhat of a trough or at least zonal flow this time of the year for heat to go to a positive, which means we're going to get a flow start coming south-southeasterly and easterly and then southwesterly, where we can pick up some moisture along the eastern states in the Ohio Valley. So we'll see what happens. This is the NAM. Here is a GFS. GFS, same idea. We're going to scoop up some Atlantic moisture and bring it up the east coast, and you get some idea. There's going to be multiple times of showers and thunderstorms. This is longer range now, where we go back into a trough situation. We'll see about that. But in the short term, it looks like an increased threat of showers and thunderstorms, maybe some very heavy rain along the southeastern states, 1 to 2, 3, 4 inches maybe, especially when you get out in this area. You get some more influence from the Atlantic here. This is the Canadian. The Canadian wants to do the same kind of stuff, scoop up some moisture off the Atlantic here, you can see it, and off the off the Gulf of Mexico, try to rip off some of the moisture from the wave, send it up into the eastern Ohio Valley, western Pennsylvania area. We'll see how that all works out. The Euro has the same idea as well. Get the idea, we're going to bring up some moisture in the Ohio Valley and then send it eastward. Any welcomed rainfall will be very welcomed and whatnot, so it would be very welcome. We really do need the rain, even in the Philadelphia area. It's getting pretty dry. Let's just go back here, if you would, to the we'll go back to the NAM, just for short-term purposes. But you get the idea. We have a broad east-southeasterly flow, and if we have that in place, say something tropically speaking wants to get going out here, as you can see, the door is wide open for this to come right toward the southeastern states and up the east coast. So we're going to have to start watching the tropics. For any purposes at this point, maybe just the fact that we have such a broad east-southeasterly flow going all the way out into the Atlantic. Let's go back to that water vapor map now, and we look at the water vapor map. You got a lot of dry air out here in the Atlantic, but you can already see we have eventually, minus the little bit of shear you see going on here, we're going to start getting into an east-southeasterly flow, and you have one upper level low right here, what I was talking about in my blog. One upper level low here is starting to move off to the west-northwest. This will bring some added moisture in towards the southeastern states. And then you have another one coming down here, digging down this way. These two features here alone may inhibit tropical storm or disturbance activity in the Atlantic, but at the very least, for all those who are looking for some rainfall and to cool off the southeastern states, this would be a good welcome sign for rainfall. However, some of the rainfall from eastern Texas up in this arc like this, especially for the time being, could be quite heavy in the 2 to 4 inch range. We'll see how this all maybe comes up the east coast in time, as this trough here that's digging down now lifts out and allows the NAO to go positive and start draining up some of the moisture, humidity, unfortunately, and yes, heat too. Probably no worse than 90 degrees between now and early next week, but the increased threat of showers and thunderstorms will really start taking hold probably Thursday night into Friday, especially the weekend. So if you have any weekend plans on the Jersey Shore, beaches of Delaware, and Ocean City, Maryland, down to Virginia Beach, especially Virginia Beach, you start looking out for showers and thunderstorms to start as we get into a progressively moist east-southeasterly flow that at all levels it eventually goes southwesterly, and there could be quite a bit of heavy rain in time. All right, that's all I have for today. This is Wild Weather for LiveWeatherBlogs.com.